Hello and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. Today will be a fun one, I think. I will be showing you guys a few vehicles that I shared on this channel, and then I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about them and how much I sold these cars for, and essentially how much they ended up costing me and what the profit was. So we're going to start with the first one, a 2002 Ford F-150 4x4 Super Crew full-size pickup truck. And as you guys can see, there was some damage on the the fender. The front bumper, the lower part was also damaged. And there you go. That turn signal was broken. The other thing you can't really see until you start driving, well, and then you could see it clearly, were the lug nuts. They were the wrong size, so the steering wheel vibrated violently when you go over about 20 miles per hour. Aside from that, the truck was fairly clean. I'm going to show you guys a few pictures of it once I kind of cleaned it up and got it ready to sell. The truck started on its own at the auction with no issues, no warning lights, and mechanically it actually ran extremely well. And that's why I bought it. It had super high mileage, but I see a bunch of these Fords, 200, 250,000 miles, and it seems like they run without issues. But the reason why I bought it, this truck was extremely clean inside and out. Now, a little bit more detailed pictures. It had a K&N air filter. See, this is how it looks when I sold it. The fog lamps are different because this lower bumper, actually the whole bumper assembly, I pulled off of a Ford Expedition, not an F-150. So this lower part was a little bit different than the one on the truck. Had some paint fading. The worst was on the roof right here. I touched it up with some white paint. It didn't really look the best, but hopefully it protects it a little bit better. Had good thread tires. A little dirty down here, but it's where your feet go. It was sitting on aftermarket suspension. I'm going to go through these fairly quick. But as you guys can see, it's a very clean truck, and mechanically it ran great. I think I sold it 2 days after I listed it for sale. Now, the winning bid for this truck, I bought it at a timed auction, was $1,200. After fees, it was $1,538. I ended up buying new lug nuts for $15. The turn signal was $13. The front bumper, the whole complete set, was $85, and the fender was $75, bringing the total cost for the truck at $1,726. I ended up selling the truck for $3,200, making $1,474 in profit. Next up, we have a 2007 Ford Mustang. This one was purchased from Copart. It had higher mileage also, I think like 148,000 miles. I think we should be able to see it in the video. But that was the only damage right here to the rear left side. The fuel cap wasn't opening or close. Well, actually, it wasn't closing very well. One of the brackets broke. Yeah, as you guys can see right here, it opened just fine, but it just wouldn't stay flush when it was closed. And the part right here behind the wheel was bent. That's why the bumper wasn't sitting very well. I think only problem I had with this Mustang, the only real issue was it had sitting water in the passenger foot area, and I made a video how to fix it. I ended up fixing it. It was a super easy fix. I took out the seat. It had a bunch of standing water. I took out the seat, got the water out, and then I ended up leaving it in my garage for 3 or 4 days, blow drying it on and off for like an hour at a time, and then letting it sit for a few hours, and then turning on the heater again, essentially until it completely dried up. Then I cleaned up the interior a little bit, and I sold it to a gentleman maybe a week after I posted it for sale. The Mustang had a whole bunch of aftermarket parts. I went on a American Muscle website, which seems like where all of these aftermarket parts were purchased from. It had new tires, great wheels. It had these Rexon turn signals for the taillights. It had an aftermarket exhaust. It had a hood scoop that you guys can see right here. There's some damage to the front bumper, but in all honesty, I've had 6, 7 Mustangs, maybe more now. It seems like the paint chips very often. I want to say almost every single Mustang that I've had paint chips on the front. But then it had these quarter window. I don't even know what to call them anymore. Really nice taillights. I was a big fan of these. This rear deck spoiler, which is a 3-piece. So I think all in all, after I kind of calculated the cost, aftermarket parts, it had a little over 2,000 put into it. Here's the engine bay. Had cold air intake, or just little pieces here and there. But the winning bid for this Mustang was $1,450. After fees, it was $1,808. I ended up buying a new serpentine belt for it, which was $20. I bought a new cabin air filter for $22 because the water was coming in through right here, right where the cabin filter is, and it was absolutely filthy. And my conscience just would not let me sell the car, seeing how dirty that cabin air filter was. So I paid $22 for that, and I changed the oil in it, which was $35. So absolutely no major repairs were done on this Mustang, and I ended up selling it for $3,500, which left a profit of $1,909 for this Mustang. My next purchase was kind of an accident. Uh, so I was actually playing this truck right here for a client, and the car I purchased, the Toyota Echo, was the car right before this truck, and that it was insurance that was the seller, and they showed that the reserve was super close. So I was like, hey, I'm gonna throw $25 on it. If I win it, then I win it. If I don't win it, then oh well. Lo and behold, I won it. So I didn't look at this car in person. I didn't see it. I didn't start it. It was literally just going off of pictures. You can see the hood is faded right there. This was the dent, which I later opened the trunk and just with my hand kind of bumped it out, so it didn't look as bad as it looks here. Cleaned it up, took it through a car wash. This little car started on its own. It ran like a champ. I think the day we picked it up, me and my brother were running errands. We did like 40 or 50 miles in this little thing, and it ran great. And no issues, nothing of that sort. The only thing was clearly was a little dirty, and the airbag light was on, which I don't know why. I tried to reset it. My tool wasn't able to do so. But selling it was the really fun part because it was a super cheap car. I think I had it listed for like $1,300. The mileage was pretty good on it, like 140,000 miles, 130,000 miles, something of that sort. The next cheapest one was like $1,700 with over 200,000 miles. But, clearly a clean title. And even with that, I had so many low offers, so many picky buyers. It's like $1,300 for a great running little car with good mileage. It honestly, it was really frustrating. I ended up selling it actually to a pretty awesome guy. He just needed a daily commuter. He didn't need anything fancy. He was okay with the damage. So in this, all of these pictures, I actually didn't bump out the rear quarter just yet. I did it at a later time. But this is how it looks kind of cleaned up after a car wash. So the total or the winning bid for this little car was $425. After fees, it was $623. I did absolutely nothing to it other than a car wash and put 15 bucks of gas in it, which those little expenses I do not count into the cost of the car. I ended up selling it for $1,100, making a profit of $477. The last car on our list is this wonderful 2010 Ford Focus SEL. This is a top of the line Focus. In our area, when I was selling it, there wasn't a single Ford Focus in this body style with a leather interior or heated seats. But this thing was rough. This was another timed auction purchase. I saw in the pictures that it was dirty, but I did not realize how dirty and trashed this thing was. Found a rock. Who drives around with a rock? Those trim pieces were missing. The little knob for the power mirrors were missing. This stereo was actually, not stereo, the heater unit was broken off of the tabs in the back. And my theory is whatever they spilled here, like you guys see, they tried to wipe it down and they forcefully, while wiping it down, pushed it so far that it snapped the brackets in the back. The other surprise, excuse me, was the windshield. I didn't realize that the windshield was busted. The battery was completely dead. The car needed to get a full detail inside and out, and then a few minor pieces that I had to purchase for it to make it look presentable. Now, the upside, mechanically, this thing ran great. Everything worked, all the windows, the heated seats. It had a factory subwoofer in the back, so it had premium sound. The damage right here is the kink in the back. But mechanically, this thing ran great. So as I'm going through the pictures, the winning bid for this car was $898, super cheap. After fees, the total was $1,171. As you guys can see, that engine got cleaned up extremely well. I put in a new battery into it. So the expenses after the total with fees was $1,171. The expenses were $165 for the windshield, $140 to detail the car, $13 for the power mirror control knob, $33 for the center radio trim because it looked like it was all melted and just looked funny. I couldn't sell the car like that. $24 for the rear bumper bracket, $37 for the interior mirror trims, which this one right here and then the other one on that side, $101 for a new battery, and then $24 for the heater unit. I did not fix the rear bumper. I sold the car and the buyers saw the damage, the kink in the trunk, which they were fine. I actually went to a 16-year-old high school student. This was his first car. But the heater unit that I'm talking about is this right here, because it was just kind of melted and it was gross to touch, and I knew that it would turn away some buyers. But like I said, this thing was fully loaded with a moonroof, heated seats, leather seats. I believe the power or the driver's seat was a power seat. And the thing ran great. I actually saw the buyers 2 or 3 days later after I sold the car, and they've been driving it daily, and they absolutely loved it. So after the expenses on this car, the total was $1,708. I ended up selling the car for $2,100, making a profit of $392, which isn't a lot, but this car was a complete surprise with the amount of work it required. I was not expecting it, so I was kind of happy just to even break even and get my money out and move on to the next car. So now let's calculate the profit, the total profit on those 4 cars, starting with the 2002 Ford F-150. The profit on that one was 1,474. The Ford Mustang profit was 1,909, and the Toyota Echo, the profit on that was $477, and then the Ford Focus $392. So this is my profit, pure profit on those 4 cars that you guys saw. If you would like to take a look at the full videos of me picking up the cars, the Mustang, I did a complete detailed finding it on Copart, going to Copart, and then picking it up. You are welcome to browse the channel. If you guys enjoyed this video and you want to see other videos in the future, I'm happy to make them for you. Just let me know in the comment section below. I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate the support, and I will see you guys in the next video.